Something is happening to the middle class that nobody is talking about loudly enough. In 1970, the middle class represented 61% of American adults. Today, that number is below 50% for the first time in modern history. The middle class is not struggling. It is disappearing. Quietly, systematically, and by design. The people moving out of the middle class are not all moving up. Most of them are moving down. In the next 8 minutes, you will understand exactly why this is happening, who is responsible, and most importantly, what you can do right now to make sure you are not part of the statistic. Stay with me. This might be the most important financial video you watch this year. To understand why the middle class is disappearing, you need to understand what created it in the first place. After World War II, America and much of the Western world experienced something unprecedented, a period of broad shared prosperity. Factory workers could afford homes. One income could support a family. A high school education could lead to a stable career. Retirement was a realistic expectation for ordinary people. This was not an accident. It was the result of specific economic conditions. Strong unions, high corporate taxes, limited global competition, affordable housing, accessible education. Those conditions no longer exist, and what replaced them has been systematically transferring wealth from the middle class to the top for the last 40 years. Let's talk about the forces destroying the middle class one by one. Force number 1. Wages have not kept up with productivity. Since 1979, worker productivity in America has increased by 61%. Worker compensation has increased by only 17%. The difference went to shareholders and executives. In 1965, the average CEO earned 20 times what the average worker earned. Today, that ratio is over 350 to 1. Force number 2. The cost of essential goods has exploded. Housing, healthcare, education. The 3 things a middle-class life requires. All 3 have increased in cost dramatically faster than wages over the last 40 years. A college degree that cost $10,000 in 1980 costs $100,000 today. A median home that cost 3 times the average annual salary in 1970 now costs 7 to 8 times. Force number 3. Jobs are changing. Manufacturing jobs that sustained the middle class for generations have been automated or offshored. The replacement jobs are either very high skill and very high pay, or very low skill and very low pay. The middle is hollowing out. Here is the wealth transfer that most people never see. In 1978, the top 1% of Americans owned 22% of all wealth. Today, they own 38%. The bottom 50% of Americans own 2.5% of all wealth. In 1978, they owned 3%. This shift did not happen randomly. It happened through specific policy decisions. Tax cuts that disproportionately benefited the wealthy. Deregulation of financial markets that allowed new forms of wealth extraction. Trade policies that prioritized corporate profits over worker wages. Housing policies that made home ownership less accessible for first-time buyers. None of this was secret. It was debated in Congress and parliaments around the world. And consistently, the decisions made favored concentrated wealth over distributed prosperity. The middle class did not disappear because people stopped working hard. It disappeared because the rules of the economic game changed, and most people were not told the rules had changed. Now let's talk about the invisible tax on the middle class that nobody discusses. Inflation. When governments print money to stimulate economies, the purchasing power of every dollar you save decreases. This affects middle-class savers more than the wealthy, because wealthy people hold assets, property, stocks, businesses. These assets inflate in value when money is printed. Middle-class people hold cash and wages. Both lose value in inflationary environments. The 2020 to 2022 period was the most dramatic example in modern history. Governments printed trillions. Asset prices exploded. Stock markets reached all-time highs. Property values surged. The people who owned assets became significantly wealthier. The people who earned wages and held savings became significantly poorer in real terms. Inflation is not random. It is not natural. It is a policy choice. And it consistently redistributes wealth from those who work for money to those whose money works for them. Here is the question that matters. What can you actually do about this? Because understanding that the system is designed against you is only useful if it changes your behavior. The first move: stop holding cash. Every dollar sitting in a savings account at 2% while inflation runs at 4% is losing value. Move money into assets that appreciate with inflation. Index funds, real estate, anything that rises when money is printed. The second move: increase your earning capacity aggressively. The middle-class trap is depending on a single wage that grows slowly. The escape is building skills and income streams that grow faster than inflation. The third move: minimize exposure to debt at high interest rates. The financial system profits from keeping middle-class people in debt. Credit cards at 20%. Car loans, personal loans. Every dollar of high-interest debt is a transfer of wealth from you to a financial institution. The fourth move: understand that homeownership is still the most reliable wealth-building tool available to middle-class families. Despite higher prices, despite higher rates, a home you own appreciates. Rent you pay disappears forever. Here is the uncomfortable truth about the disappearing middle class. The system will not fix itself. The forces driving wealth concentration are powerful, entrenched, and profitable for the people who control them. Waiting for policy change is not a financial strategy. Voting for the right politician is not a retirement plan. The only reliable path for an individual in this environment is to understand exactly how the system works and position yourself on the right side of it. Own assets instead of just earning wages. Build skills that cannot be automated. Eliminate high-interest debt. Invest consistently regardless of market conditions. These are not revolutionary ideas. They are the same strategies the wealthy have always used. The difference is that now you know them. The middle class is disappearing, but you do not have to disappear with it. If this changed how you see the economic world around you, subscribe to Financial Protocol on YouTube. Every week, we expose the systems, the collapses, and the strategies that determine who builds wealth and who loses it. Subscribe now. Your financial future depends on what you understand, and we are here every week to make sure you understand everything.